inspire, empower, grab your girls and soar a little higher. Unlock the fire in you, cause real women don't bitch, no. Real women don't, 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 real women don't bitch.
Hey, thank you for joining me on the Real Women Don't Bitch podcast. This is your proud host, August Crenshaw, aka Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless. I am the #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs because building mental muscle is necessary in order to implement successful business strategies. This show has been created for the woman who is not excuse-driven and needs help building a profitable business. I will be interviewing women from various fields who are willing to break the silence on struggles that specifically affect female entrepreneurs. Welcome to a show where I and guest speakers from time to time share our methods that help us beast our business no matter what is going on in our lives. Whether you are an online or brick and mortar business owner, this show is for you. We will hit every angle, personal, professional, and spiritual. Why? Because on any given day, you get hit with shit from a scenario involving one, more, or perhaps all of the above. It all impacts you and your mindset towards your business. I have made it my personal mission to provide a space where we dive deep into the BS we face on a day-to-day basis. Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are back for another awesome episode, and I got somebody with me, you all, that is off the chain. Well, I only have great guests. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm biased, but I do. But I love me some Lenora Janine. She's an absolutely beautiful woman. I mean, she's gorgeous inside out. But she was one of those people that when I met her, she just looked like a very nice woman, a business owner. She opened up her mouth one day. I saw her on a live video, and I was like, dang it. I mean, I just was drawn in. I was like, this woman is a speaker. Now, just listen to her. That's literally all I can say is just listen to her. I'm excited because you rain nuggets. You just say empowering, inspiring things. And so I'm really happy to have you. So welcome, Lenora.
Thank you for having me.
So let's get this thing let's just dive all in. Let's get this thing started. Who is Lenora Janine?
Lenora Janine is a mysterious person, I would say, has layers to her. I like to have fun. I am a thinker, though, as well. And so I'm in my head a lot, analyzing. But I love to sing. I love to dance. I love to have fun. I love to make jokes, even though my husband says I'm not funny. I think I'm hilarious. I think I'm hilarious. But so I love to sing. I love to dance. I love to write. And I'm just a very artistic person. Everything that is pretty much of the artistic vent, I tend to lean toward those type of things.
Absolutely. And we have so much in common with those things. I mean, you already know I love to dance. We won't discuss why.
Yes.
Yes, but I love to write. Like you, I think I'm a comedian. But in addition to that, I also think I'm a rapper. You know, in another lifetime, maybe I should have tried it back in 1994. But yeah, but very artistic. And so here you are, and I always love to watch you because you always have these awesome hairstyles. For those of you that are listening, you have to catch this on YouTube because I love your hair and you wear your natural hair a lot. And I go back and forth because of me being a hairstylist. I'm like, sometimes I want my own, sometimes I want weave, sometimes I just want convenience. But nevertheless, but that's that artistic side of you. I look at that art even in how you style your hair. And art is behind your field, your choice, your career. So why don't you kind of talk to people a little bit about what you do? Because when people say that they do the same thing you're doing, a lot of times they say it like it's some simple task, but we know that there's more to it if you have ever
Absolutely.
experienced Lenora Janine. So tell them what you do for your business.
Absolutely. I own Oh How Beautiful Spa Services, and I am an esthetician. I've been one for 11 years. I currently specialize in luxury brow services. And when I do brows, it's much more than just a wax. Like when I tell people I specialize in brows, some fellow estheticians, they will say, yes, I wax brows too. No, no. I don't wax brows. I design brows. When I am looking at brows, every single hair matters. I am picturing what angles it's supposed to go in, where it's supposed to start, where it's supposed to end, what type of arch is going to complement the individual's face. So I am actually designing and sculpting a brow that's going to complement the beauty of the woman that I am working on.
I love the way that you said all of that. And because I've seen your before and after shots, you know, no two brows are alike. You know how you see
Right.
some people and it's like they just take that same look and they plaster it on person after person.
Yes.
Some people get some kit and they just draw them on the same way. And I look at the women that you work with, it kind of reminds me of like back in the day, it was Hans Wyman at first, but then it was somebody else that came in after that. And they were talking about how they replace hairs according to where your natural hairline is, as opposed to a person wearing a toupee where you're basically stuck with wherever that's going to fall. So do you just want to wax? Or do you want them designed? Do you just want a toupee? Or do you want each and every follicle tended to so that it's natural to you? And that, to me, that speaks volumes. And not only that, I noticed how you said every hair counts. For the people that I know, when I've experienced what you do, because I've let a couple people touch my sensitive little hairs over my eyes, it seems more like just about the arching. You know, that's another thing people would say, I arch brows. As long as it's straighter or it's even and the hairs aren't wild, then bam, I did it. But then in like 3 days to a week, you need to get everything redone, you know, all over again. And you, like I said, I don't want us to go too in depth about how you do what you do, because this is not the brow design instructional. But I know from watching you that it's deeper than just let me make sure that there's an arch. You're like, no, this hair has to go. This one stays. Maybe it's a little shorter. And so that's phenomenal. So you guys, you heard her say she specializes in luxury brows. And we haven't really gotten into this whole thing about what this podcast episode will be. But I want to just that's a nugget. This is one of those nuggets that people may not have heard. You have come out boldly to put that luxury before it. So everybody that's listening, how do you define yourself? Because she could say that I'm someone who specializes in brow design. She could have said I am amazing at doing brows. But no, she said that she specializes in luxury brows. And that right there alone is a nugget. What are you saying to differentiate yourself? So what are you saying to make yourself distinguishable in the marketplace where anybody and everybody can say that they're an entrepreneur, and so many other people do exactly what you do? So anyway, here you are. You're this established business owner. Business is going great for you. But this whole podcast was developed to encourage women. And they may be they may be more at the beginning of their path of entrepreneurship. So talk to us. You maybe not necessarily a specific experience just yet, but kind of like a bullet point list. What are some of the obstacles that you personally dealt with on this path of entrepreneurship before you got to the place that you are now?
Oh, wow. I have encountered so many challenges along this way. And even it started before I even started the business, you know, because I was designed and created to do this. This was already on the map for me to do before I even knew this is what I was supposed to do. So the challenges began even before I started my business to basically distract me from starting my business because what I do is so impactful. So the challenges that I experienced before that, let's just say, oh God, hits and blows to my self-esteem and my confidence, big time. Me believing in myself and believing that I actually had something in me to offer and to give that was valuable. So my self-esteem and confidence was hit big time. And then we have those things in everyday life that challenges you to just continue to bring you down and discourage you. Two of my children back to back were diagnosed with disabilities.
Oh, wow.
That was a blow. And then my mother had a stroke at a young age. And I gave up my house. And in my house, I actually was trying to start my business at that time. So I gave up my house to move in with my parents so my dad could keep his job so I could care for my mother. I was going through a divorce at that same time. While all of this was going on, I was going through a very nasty divorce and custody battle. So with all of this going on and hitting me from the left and the right, you would think, who's thinking about starting a business right now?
No, you're right. And I'm well, number one, a lot of the things you brought up, I was aware of, but there was a couple of other things that I was not. And I just want to thank you for being so transparent. But I believe that what stifles a lot of women is this mindset of isolation, that it's just me. And when we feel like that and when we think like that, we really magnify the circumstances. It's like, nobody's ever tried to build a business and, it's just my luck. Now my baby is, come up with this critical illness. And it's like, no, there's another woman who got hit with the same thing. And in your situation, it was two. I've heard women say things like, things were going great with me. I was going to build my business and, then my mom got sick and who's going to abandon their mom? And not being able to see that they can still get past that, but you gave that example. And women, they go through the divorces and all of those different things. So ladies, you guys are listening. You're listening to a woman that while she had her eyes laid on a dream, she realized that there was something that was innate in her that God had gifted her to do, but yet and still the trials were coming left and right throughout these processes. And my question is, I like to quote one of my friends named Chandra, how bad do you want it? How bad do you really want this? Because I really don't know very many women who had no obstacles whatsoever. And a lot of those obstacles, they're not directly associated with the business. And then you said you had all kind of other issues where you had to deal with your self-esteem. And that's critical. Because we are the face of our business. We have to promote it. So out of all of these different things that you were going through, which one do you think impacted you the most? And somewhere in the middle of that was where your biggest transformation came from, where you were like, no, I cannot be operating in mediocrity anymore. My business is going to be what it's supposed to be.
I would say the one that was most impactful and contributed to my big transformation is going to be coming out of that destructive relationship.
Okay.
That one, because it was so big and it had affected me so badly and had contributed so much to my low self-esteem and to my low confidence. And one of the big things that I remember how it affected me is it affected my ability to make decisions. I didn't trust myself to make good decisions.
Wow. And I can see that. I can see that a lot. So here you are, you're in this destructive relationship, your self-esteem is shot down, and the one thing you don't want to do is decide. And
yes.
And if you're going to have CEO mentality, you absolutely have to make decisions. If you leave it in the hands of everybody else, then your business won't be your own. Your business will be everybody else's. Yeah, you want input. Yeah, you want wisdom. You want to get advice about things. Maybe you want to have a panel discussion, but that's like talking to your clients or something like that to make sure that you're appeasing them. And I see so many women that want to start a business and they're not willing to just stand up and say, hey, this is what my brand is going to look like. This is what I want my image to look like, and just go with it. So let me kind of just throw a different question in there. You have this stellar brand, but being in the industry long enough as an entrepreneur, I know we have those moments, right, where it was like, this is going to be my flyer. And if you can look back onto like what you created a long time ago and the image that you set while you were breaking through all of this stuff versus the way you market and advertise your business now, talk to the ladies about how you felt then, or even how you feel now, going down memory lane, thinking about your progression.
I actually laugh at it a lot of times. I chuckle. It makes me laugh because when I think back to when I finally had the courage to step out there and to, brand my business and say, this is what it's going to be. At the time, I just did the best I could with what I had. And even though I was making this flyer and trying to show people, what my brand looks like, I was doing it and still making it as a broken person. So what it really was supposed to look like wasn't shining through fully on my flyers, but I did the best I could with what I have. I did not let the fact that I knew that I was broken and that I knew that I had areas that needed healing stop me from taking a step and moving forward. I believed that the healing would come as I continued to step forward in action.
And that's what happened.
Yes.
And
exactly
now,
what happened.
And here's the thing. You are very proactive about healing.
Yes. Very proactive.
You're proactive about healing, and that's what got you in a position to get better. And the beautiful thing about what you do is you don't just do brows. You don't just do luxury brows. What's happening to you when these women are coming to get their brows done? Are they just saying, oh yeah, by the way, I want the arch to look this way, or I want it to be that way? What are they talking to you about?
No, they talk to me about various things. One thing that I always think about when my clients come to me is that they come to me in one of their most vulnerable states.
Yes.
With a naked face, no makeup, and they're coming just open and trusting me, one, not to judge them, and two, they are trusting me to do a good job on whatever it is that I am doing on them, because they come in, they lay, and they close their eyes, and they trust me to do whatever it is that they came to have done. And so I take advantage of the fact that these people have come in a receiving mode, and that they've come in a mode that it is a vulnerable state, and I pour into them. So while I am doing their brows, I'm telling them how beautiful they are.
Yes.
Every time I'm telling them how beautiful they are, I am affirming that what they already have is beautiful and great, even before I'm done with the final product. Letting them know. And it's just the small things, because you never know when was the last time, or if they've ever heard if someone has called them beautiful, or whether someone has told them that they've been doing a good job. People may not receive these affirmations. And time after time, when clients walk through my door, they say, oh, I just could not wait to get here. I love to come here. Who knew getting brows was so relaxing? When they just lay on my table, they sink into it, and they are ready to close their eyes, and they're ready to receive. They're ready for that connection. They're ready for that interaction, because when they leave, they feel built up. They feel beautiful, and they feel much better with their head held high walking out of the door.
And I love that. And it's not to say that everybody's journey has to be the same, but for the most part, that area in your life, whoever's listening, that you feel the most damaged in, that place where you feel the most taken advantage of, where you may have been the most vulnerable and things did not work out, that has a tendency to be your calling. Your esteem was broken down, but there's something deeper beyond just the brows themselves you were able to take a condition that you were dealing with, and it makes you more sympathetic and empathetic to the individuals whose paths you cross. And so you're making an impact that's much deeper than just some type of superficial make myself look prettier thing. It's like, no, I mean, just like you put on clothes, you can put on brows. Sometimes you want to dress up, you want to do some things, but you're doing more than that. You're touching the heart and the core of people and individuals that know my story. My voice has always been very strong. And except for in the times when people wanted to capitalize on it, I was often the one that was told to shut up, to sit down, to be quiet. You always have something to say. And so now I am a beacon of light or a voice for other people to teach them to come out and be their authentic selves and to speak and to be who they are. But I'm sensitive to that because I went through the struggle of not being able to do those things. And so I just gave my little snippet, but everybody that's listening, this woman who is beautiful, who is confident, still had a moment when she was not. And now she's taken that gift. What used to condemn you, you had to realize, no, this doesn't condemn me. It qualifies me. You were broken. You said, but this brokenness, this thing, it'll work out as I'm building my business. And I love how you said you work with what you have. And so often, and if you can, I want you to piggyback off of this. I see it all the time, especially just working with a group of women. We have a tendency to compare. And, you know, I'm all about being competitive, but I'm talking about staying in your lane and competitive from the industry standpoint, but not from is she skinnier than me? Is she prettier than me? Is her hair nicer than mine? And then it goes into the business. Well, her graphics are better. Her website is more clean. You know, her imagery is better. But people don't know how you got to your point S. And they may be new in their business and they're at point C. But there was a time when you were at C too. So I don't even know how you want to take what I just said. You might even just give words of encouragement. I don't know, but I know you've seen it because you work with women of how we've got to be grateful for what we have and understand that it blossoms into something more beautiful.
Absolutely. From every perspective that you just named, I had to go through that. And at some point compared myself in those areas. Did I look professional enough? Did I sound professional enough? Because I didn't have the education. When I left out of my marriage, I came with 2 kids and no skill and no education. So I didn't feel like I was, you know, good enough or smart enough or up to par. Like I needed some kind of degrees or something behind me to do something because I didn't think that people would take me seriously because it didn't seem professional enough. And then did I look professional enough? You know, because I was a Black woman. I was a Black woman trying to start a business in a predominantly non-Black area. Yeah. And so that was a little intimidating. And I was, you know, comparing myself and wondering how people would view me and wondering, you know, how people would receive what I was saying. And then, of course, you compare your businesses, the graphics. Is it nice enough? Is it good enough? Does it look crisp and pristine and professional enough? But you have to remember and look at who you're comparing yourself to. I was comparing myself to like 15 plus year established businesses. And I was like a baby business, you know, just getting started. And it was very frustrating back then. It was very frustrating because I wanted more from myself. But what I realize now in retrospect, I went through a lot of those challenges and a lot of the things did not come easy to me. And I had to learn. I had to teach myself. I had to figure it out. I had to find a way to learn it if I didn't know how to learn it, whether it was through a course or whether it was through a class. But I went through all of those challenges for a reason, because now I can walk someone through the process because I know all the challenges at every twist and every turn and every level. And I can let them know, yes, I know what it feels like to be at that point. Keep moving. Keep going. Don't look to the left. Don't look to the right. Keep moving forward and don't worry about that. Don't compare yourself. Don't tear yourself down at this point because you're building right here. You're building that muscle. You're building that knowledge. You're building it all. And then when I look at like now, it's not hard at all for me to like create a graphic. And I see and compare it to what I had then. And I was like, wow. But guess what? I can walk somebody through that now. Absolutely. And if I had not went through any of those challenges, who could I teach? Who could I help? Who could I reach my hand down and help them up? Who I wouldn't have the wings to mount up, to put somebody on my wings and bring them with me because I wouldn't know where they were. I wouldn't know what it was like to be frustrated at this point and that point and from this turn and to hit these challenges if it would have just been so easy for me to achieve what I did.
Absolutely. See what I'm saying? There goes that fire.
It came
out. but everything that you said was 1000% the gospel truth. What we learn puts us in a position to help someone else. And I also just want to add this in there because you guys know that I also like to just throw practical bullet points. I actually was looking at a flyer that I made back in like 1999 or 2000 just by using a scanner. Remember, scanners were kind of popular.
Oh, yes.
So what I did, I'm gonna have to post this on Facebook. I did a collage of my clients and just put some stuff on there with my number and the types of braids and stuff that I did. But all of that stuff, I like literally had to get like paper tape and tape it on the pictures onto the paper and then lay it down on there and let the computer scan it, then put the words and stuff in there. Now there's Canva. You know, yes. I mean, I'm not even trying to be funny.
Canva.
I know that there's some millennials and stuff like that that chime into me, but I just want to say that, but even for the millennials now, you know, it's Canva now, but then it's something else later. It's like, oh, that's just so old, you know, like monkey pictures or Pick Monkey or something like that used to be the thing. You know, it just keeps on graduating and expanding, but that's something else too. You know, some of these other technological advances that are out there now, some of you don't understand that people that have more money to pay for those things have access to certain stuff. And not only that, because you're in the beginning stages, you don't even understand or know what tools are out there and how to actually use them to your benefit. But everything is always growing and going and changing so much. And so I thought about that when you were talking. I thought about my collage because I was laughing, you know, just looking at where I came from.
Yeah.
We're talking about almost 20 years ago, because I did hair for over 20 years, but I started in 1992. And
wow.
But I made those flyers in like 99, maybe 2000. So times. Yes, I'm 42, you guys. I have no problem saying how old I am.
And she looks fabulous.
Thank you. So just kind of moving on, so I noticed that you said that you took classes, you did courses and stuff like that. Talk to the people and give them some other examples of any kind of resources or tools that you use. What do you do to keep yourself positive, focused, motivated? Anything, websites, books, whatever.
Yes, it is a combination of all of them. Of course, Google is your best friend. Yes, Google's your best friend. All of the information on Google is not great, but don't count them out because you can really come across some really valuable resources on Google. And I learned that instead of sitting there saying, oh, I don't know how to do this, I would type it in and see what came up. It's one of the ways that I still actually use when I'm creating a flyer. Who is the top person in that area and what does their flyer look like? And I'll Google it and I'll look at the types of graphics that they used and the pictures and the types of wording. And then I just take what I need from that and make it my own and pattern after that and say, okay, yes, that image needed to be clear, or this is the type of font, or this is the type of language that they use. This is the best placement to make it look like a luxury flyer and things like that. I am always on social media. I love social media. I get on my husband's nerves because I am always on social media watching videos. I am always just ingesting any type of information that I can, especially if it's in an area that I don't know a lot about. So I'm listening to the stories of other people. I'm listening to the instructions of other people. I am taking webinars. I absolutely love the sales class that you did. Things like that, the sales class that you did. I love your group coaching program that I do. All of those things like that, I am looking at them and seeing, okay, what and who has who I need. I used to be an avid book reader. I'm not so much of a book reader anymore because I've learned that I'm such more of a hands-on type person, that I'll read a book and then I need to stop and then I analyze it and then I need a lab for lack of a better term. I'm like, I need a lab in the middle of these books. I need, to test this out. And so that's why I love your group coaching program so much. And then one of the things that I do to keep myself motivated is I have created a vision wall. I need to keep before me. Yeah, I know. And a lot of people do vision boards, but it's a wall. And one of my keys, because a lot of people have a vision board, but they actually don't even go and look at it every day. I made mine attractive. I made it attractive so that I want to look at it every day, because who just wants words cut out on a magazine? That you're not going to go look at that every day. So I have glitter, I have shimmer, I have metallics, I have butterflies, I have gold words that I have put on the wall. It's something that I'm drawn to every day, that I want to look at it, and I keep the vision before me, and that keeps the vision strong. I meditate daily. I meditate on my desires, and I envision the life that I want, and I envision what I want to happen. I envision myself touching lives and impacting lives. I envision the transformations in other people's lives. This keeps me motivated to keep going, and it's just keeps building the more that I do that, and the fire keeps growing. So
on fire again. I wanted to yes and but I didn't want to, with the sound quality, I didn't want my voice to constantly be coming over yours, but all of that. Now, and I'm going to be honest with you, never really even thought about it like that, but you didn't say, when you said a vision wall, I caught the differentiation automatically, and that's powerful. That is powerful. And people know when they make the vision boards, they are supposed to be going back to them. But the question is, did you really even put your personality into what you created, instead of just putting the visions of what you want before you? I really, really like that. But something else that's really critical out of all these things that you said, you're resourceful, but you also willing to invest in yourself. And I love that.
Oh, absolutely.
I love the fact that you said, I can't use "I don't know" as an excuse. And I remember this was way back when I first started. I really didn't know where to start, but I had heard that you should write books, and people have their opinions, and that's neither here nor there. But when I first started, I was like, okay, well, how do I do this? Where do I get this out there? And I literally watched hours of videos where a person said, this is where you put this. This is how you format this. This is what font you should use. You should put links here. You should click this, put this there. You do this to create space. You do this through Kindle, whether or not you should or should not do their solo program. And I remember one day when I talked to a gentleman, and he basically did a strategy session with me. He asked me for my name. He looked up my information. He looked at the books. He said, wow, your pricing is on point. He's like, you really did a pretty decent, good, job with your titles. I mean, he gave me a lot of affirmations, but he was looking and he was like, so who's the coach that you worked with to get you to this point? And I was like, YouTube and Google. Because that's what I did, because that's all that I used. And he was like, well, listen, don't write another book. You need to get these books out there, and we had a conversation, and he discussed some other things with me. But I learned all of that stuff because I was willing to invest the time, the research. And a lot of you're sitting here and you're saying, man, but how do they do that? There's so much free information. You said that you're constantly looking at videos, and there's a plethora of it out there. And it's the same thing. I understand some coaches and some programs are not all built the same, but because part of the way people like to hook, line, and sink people in is by giving away free stuff, a lot of core fundamental things that you guys need, you can get it for free. But then on the other side of things, you do invest in coaching and say, okay, well, this right here isn't one of those. I want to think it through myself. And so you gave like a variety of things that are just you with that wall, things that are, research related with YouTube, Google, stuff like that, and things where it's investing. Ladies, where are you at with really owning your business? I get on people about this a lot. It's like, what are you really doing? I'm just asking. I just want to mess with you. Where are you at? Because we have to take ownership. And even when you've taken ownership, what more can you do? Because your business is not going to build itself. And you are the face of your business. You are not going to be built just out of thin air. There's effort that has to be done to build you. And as you grow, your business grows. So one other question in regards to what keeps you successful. What's your circle of influence like? I know one of them because I see y'all going back and forth on Facebook all the time. I know who rolls you down, but talk to us about what your circle of influence looks like, because this is really good for anybody that's going to be successful, because we don't do it alone.
Absolutely. We do not do it alone, but my circle of influence is teeny tiny. It is small, and I am very picky about who I allow to influence me. Not even a year ago, I had to clean that circle out, because I used to think that because someone was saying that they supported me, and because someone was saying that they wanted the best for me, that they actually did. And so I had a lot of people in my circle of influence that really didn't want the best for me, that were holding me back, that were dragging me down, that were a weight in my boat.
Yes.
And so I had to start removing them from my circle and really looking at, and it was kind of hard, because a lot of times you have to remove people who have been close to you for quite a while. But you have to get real with yourself and say, okay, is this person really contributing? Is this person, the information and are they really encouraging me? What they're pouring into me and what's rubbing off on me, is it in alignment with where I'm going? And is it good for me? Is it holding me back, or is it pushing me toward my destiny? And when I really looked at that, I had to cut off some people that I had been connected to for a long time and that I considered my friends. But I had to have a good, honest talk with myself and a good long look at it and say no. And so it's a childhood friend is one of my influencers. My husband is a huge influencer, and my favorite influencer, because he sugarcoats nothing. Okay? He sugarcoats nothing, and he gives it to me straight, because he says that when you go out there, people aren't going to be easy and gentle and worried about your feelings out there.
No.
So I would rather hurt your feelings right now and get you used to hearing the truth, because I wasn't used to that before I married him now. And I had that little area from that first marriage where I was beat down. So everything stung, right? I could hardly receive, correction. Everything stung. And then I married this man who doesn't beat around the bush and doesn't sugarcoat. And I'm like, ouch, 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 ouch. And he's like, no. The difference is I am in your corner.
Yes.
The difference is I want the best for you. The difference is I want to see you succeed. So I'm telling you all of this from that place of love and wanting to see you grow. And it was that, from that interaction with him, that I started to base everyone else off of. Like, who's in my circle that is not really telling me the truth, is not telling me what I should hear. And so my circle is literally comprised of a very small group of people. And I'm very, very picky about who I receive from.
Absolutely. I love that. And I have an expression. It says, when what you say and what you do don't line up, you full of shit. And I just keep
Oh,
it, and
that's
I just
true.
keep it right there. You know, I would think one day on a live, I said it, would you like me to say it in a more professional manner? You know, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. You know, how you speak and how you act, it says a lot. And a lot of you, what you're doing is you're building your business, you're looking at your friends and family, you're expecting them to be there in some form or fashion and support you, and they're not there that way. But they were the ones who said, girl, yeah, go ahead and start selling that makeup, go ahead and start that business, go ahead and write that book. And you're like, well, why aren't they buying the book? Why aren't they telling people
Yeah.
about the book? Why aren't they supporting me? And what you have to really truly understand is that's just not what it's going to look like with you building your business. Your core support team, people that are really vested in your future, it's not going to be big. You know, entrepreneurship is not a lonely road, but you do need to be selective with who you have in there. Otherwise, you will make it lonely. You know, and I like to talk about the differentiator between being abandoned versus isolating yourself, because if you allow yourself to keep getting stung by like that negative relationship you had in the beginning, you could actually voluntarily isolate yourself from other relationships that you need. And so
Oh, yeah.
that the differentiator that I'm hearing is those other people were saying, girl, yeah, you're going to be okay. You know, be like, I know her stupid behind did not leave out and didn't look at herself in the mirror. She got that big ass booger in her nose. That's what they would do. And you'll be like, oh my God, why? You guys have been sitting here talking to me in my face. Nobody saw this. Whereas your husband is the one that be like, baby, for real, you got a booger in your nose. You're like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Look, don't be embarrassed. Just get the booger out. Be grateful that I told
Yeah.
you before you go out there in front of those people and you're sitting here doing this stellar presentation, but they can't hear you because they're too busy looking at the booger in your nose. Those are the kind of people that you want in your corner. Yes, that was a very minuscule example, but it's real. That's what we need, people that aren't going to be yes men, that aren't always going to make us feel good. And I'm going to tell you something, and especially with a woman like yourself, or a woman even like me, when you're confident and you're bold and you say what's on your mind and you stand in your truth, people can look at you and say, oh, well, they have their stuff together, and they can be afraid. I can't have any punks around me. When I call one of my accountability partners and I'm like, look, okay, I'm feeling like X, Y, and Z. This has me pissed off. She'll be like, okay, all of that's well and good, August. However, let me remind you of the things you say about CEO mentality. So what are you going to do to fix that? She will get back up in my face. Some of you may not be getting where you need to go because people are afraid to tell you the truth. And you need to make sure that the people that are in your circle, that they understand that it's a expectation. And if they don't fulfill it, then you're going to realize that you made a mistake and that they have to go. So you know, we're winding down. I love you and I love my guests because I can talk to you guys all day. I really can, but I don't know if everybody wants to listen to a podcast episode that's over an hour. I don't know. You guys tell me, LOL. But seriously, I want you to think about your final words of wisdom that you would like to give to the ladies that are listening. Not that you haven't given a ton of it, but you know, my thing is in keeping in with the theme of the podcast. You know, I say this all the time. I know you guys know it by now, but just in case it's someone's first time and you're making it to the end, Real Women Don't Bitch is not about not being able to say anything. It's not being able to have a complaint or an issue. It's about not being stuck in that complaint or issue. Talk about it, get it out, get it going, and then be solution oriented. And so I love it when my guests can come and give that final word of wisdom to say, hey, I went through all of this. I'm still here, and you got this too. So what do you want to give them, Lenora?
Oh, wow. I have so much in me that I want to give, but I'm going to try to make this short. But what I always like to leave with people is to believe that you can. Don't let the excuse that you don't feel like you can do it get in the way of your accomplishments and of your dreams. I always think about what is really at the core of me saying I feel like I can. or me not having, the right level of confidence or the self-esteem or the skill or whatever. And underlying, I always come back to fear. It's fear. And so I always like to tell people, I caught the thief. And the thief that I caught is fear. Because fear is a thief. Fear will steal your dreams, will steal your hopes, your ambitions, your ideas. And so don't allow fear to steal another thing from you. Decide today that you will not allow fear to steal another thing from you and cause you to be broke and in poverty and have poverty mentality in this life. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about a bankrupt mind, a bankrupt heart. And so don't allow fear to steal another thing from you. Decide today to have the courage, because it's a mirage. Fear causes you to see things that don't even exist. And you're afraid of things that they're not even real. And so you don't move based off of something that's not even real. Push past that, knock it out of the way, move forward in confidence anyway, and don't allow fear to steal another moment, another minute, another dream from you. You can do it.
I'm going to leave that right there, you guys. Thank you, Lenora.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, you guys, just soak that in. All right, I love you. We'll be back again. We're outie. Thank you for joining me today. Remember to cultivate a mindset that is biased towards taking action. No bitching, whining, or complaining. Here, our mantra is, real women don't bitch, we get shit done. See you next week as I continue to bring you what you need to keep your head in the game and beast your business. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. Would you like a specific topic covered? Have a question you would like answered live? Then head on over to realwomendontbitchpodcast.com. Subscribe to my email list, hit me up, and I got you. Interested in being a guest speaker? You walk the walk? Then you can sign up on the website too. This is your #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs, Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless. Signing out. Deuces.
Inspire, empower, grab your girls and soar a little higher. Unlock the fire in you.